Body. I'm Councilwoman Jan Perry. This is the Information Technology and General Services Committee. I'm joined here by Councilmember Joe Buscarino, and I understand there are no, we have someone who doesn't have a voice today.
Yes.
So,
I'll be reading the items.
You're going to read for
Yes.
her. I understand there are no consent items. Am I
That's correct.
No request for continuation.
That's correct.
All right, so then why don't we start with item number 1?
Okay, item number 1 is a communication from the mayor relative to the appointment of Mr. Stephen P. Reneker as the permanent general manager of the Information Technology Agency, and this item is scheduled for council today.
So, Mr. Reneker, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background? And I see that you once worked for the city of Los Angeles before. Tell us a little bit about what you did then, and you've risen through the ranks in the city of Riverside. And I think the mayor there is Mayor Loveridge?
That's correct.
Yeah,
Well, actually, it's Councilman Bailey just was elected, and as of January 1st, Rusty
great.
Bailey is now Mayor of Riverside.
I know Mayor Loveridge. He's a wonderful person.
Yes, he is.
So tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, thank you, Councilmember. I actually started my government career here at the City of Los Angeles back in the 80s. Worked here for about 5 years. Gathered a lot of my government experience and moved on to various CIO jobs, including a water utility government agency, Eastern Municipal Water District. Also went to become the CIO for the city of Aurora in Colorado. My family didn't like the snow in Colorado, so we ended up moving back to Riverside. I was the CIO for the county of Riverside for 6 years. Did jump into the private sector for 2 years. I worked for Dell Computer. I was their public safety and criminal justice business development manager for North America. And then one of the members of the county of Riverside joined the city of Riverside and became the city manager, Brad Hudson, and I joined his team along with Mayor Ron Loveridge. Worked there for about 7 years. Decided to retire at the same time that the mayor did. So Ron and myself, we ran a nonprofit called Smart Riverside. We did some great things there. I decided it was in my best interest to retire with him. So it's an honor to be here and to be considered for the general manager of the Information Technology Agency. In many cases, it feels like I'm coming back home.
So let me ask you a question, and I would ask this for anybody who's coming into city service and wants to be the manager of a department. How do you see yourself as one who is managing still in a situation where we can't hire more people, where we're still climbing out of a recession, where we may not be able to, give you the Cadillac of all options? How do you see yourself handling that?
I think I've been in a very similar situation at the city of Riverside, where we had to go through some deep cuts and things, but I think there was a true belief that technology in itself can become an enabler and a cost savings for a government entity, and I think that's really what I look forward to here at the city of Los Angeles, is really to roll up my sleeves, simplify the way things are done, take a look at where we can cut additional costs and be more effective, and that's where I'll be spending a lot of my time.
What do you think are the biggest challenges that you foresee for the agency?
I think it's really training. I would look at the individuals that work in the agency are strong. I'm probably going to move very aggressively into some technologies that might be a little bit different, and I think that's going to require some training on the behalf of the staff to make sure that they perform at the highest level possible.
Mr. Buscarino?
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Reneker, for diving into this and agreeing to move forward. I think the only person relieved around here is Gary Lee Moore, who has now, I want to thank you, Mr. Moore, for really taking on the role and responsibility of leading ITA and, as on an interim basis. But now your focus on BOE. When you were with the city of LA, what were your roles and responsibilities then, the first time around?
I was the manager of office technology, which oversaw a lot of the automation for all the city council offices, and Mayor Tom Bradley, as well as the chief legislative analyst.
Very good. And as we know, technology is ever evolving, as we know. What are your plans to take advantage of this in the city of LA?
Well, there's a lot of great things already in the works here at the City of LA, and I think one of those is 311, and certainly look forward to further automation, delivering mobile apps throughout the city. Most of the individuals here in the city have mobile phones and smart devices and prefer to do business from a mobile capacity, so I think that'll be key. I think the web is going to be a key area of focus for myself as well. We come from a city that much smaller than the city of LA, but yet we've competed with cities over 250,000. I've received top 10 designation in the country for our websites where I've been in the past. The city of LA is going to compete, and we're going to win best of the web. I can guarantee you by the time we start revamping some things here, we're going to be doing some greatness.
Let's talk about social media. How do you see social media playing in making the city government more accessible, transparent, and accountable to the public?
I think it's cautious. It's a cautious approach. I think it's a necessity. Certainly Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, those kinds of social media avenues are critical for government. That's what our youth and our younger generation expects of government, but we need to be cautious in how it's used from a internal standpoint and who has accessibility and how we post things to it.
And you mentioned briefly about mobile phones, smartphones, and apps. Give me some specifics on how do you plan on capitalizing on the smartphones and working with the city and various departments as well.
Well, my theory is anything that's done over the web should be done on a mobile device. So it should just be another tool to enable any e-services that's done. Rather than have people wait in line, they should be able to do it online. They should be able to do it online on your website. They should be able to do it on your mobile device. And I think, moving it to a mobile device, keeping it as simple as possible so people can report in things such as potholes, graffiti, things of that nature, and getting these electronic work orders distributed out to the department so that they can be more effective in doing their daily work.
Tell me your first impressions of our current and existing website, lacity.org.
I think it's a great start. I think it's got a long way to go. You've had an early web presence. I think it just comes down to some standardization, making sure that all the electronic services that are provided by all the departments are pulled together and made accessible much easier in perhaps a single page.
And currently we have each city department has control and authority over the content and design of their individual websites. Would you recommend changes to this policy to allow for more consistency and cohesiveness?
I would recommend consistent templates that are used throughout the city. I still think all the departments need to be responsible for all their content, so there needs to be a strong content management tool behind the web pages that allow them to maintain all their information, their photos, their videos, things of that nature, but make the consistent look and feel, leverage the search engines that are available, and provide the powerfulness of your website, make it consistent across the entire city.
Very good. Just a short time here. You obviously have a wealth of knowledge to move this department forward. I want to thank the mayor for this recommendation. And Madam Chair, I move to approve.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, thank you very much, and we'll move forward with this. I guess it's an it's not a
recommendation.
Recommendation, yes. Okay, thank you very much. All right, let's see. What is item 2?
Okay, item 2 is a motion, Buscarino Garcetti, relative to various actions regarding the former fire station number 65 located at 1525 East 103rd Street in Watts, including the cleanup and abatement of unhealthful conditions, establishment of a regular maintenance schedule, identification of potential reuse strategies, new landscaping, and other related matters.
Okay, Mr. Buscarino, this one is in your area, so why don't you take this?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, this is, downtown you have, Engine 28, that fine dining restaurant there. So why can't we have something similar to that in Watts? And we just, working with Allison Becker and the community members and my deputy, Quincy O'Neill in Watts, this is a location that continues to be complained on the, how it looks and number of criminal homeless that are surrounding the area. And my question is, maybe this all happened before I got here, but why is it that we have the Rec and Park responsible for cleaning up the area and not General Services?
Well, Rec and Parks is responsible for handling the landscaping. historically, that's just the way it's worked out here in the city.
Okay.
General Services is responsible for maintenance of the buildings.
We really need to put all these departments together, and that's what our ask is here with Rec and Parks, GSD, CDD, and the CAO's office. And we're asking to come back to us and report back in the next 30 days on how to tackle this issue, and hoping make this location an opportunity for business to come in, to thrive, and to come into Watts. And it's an historic building, and we'd like to see that improved and perhaps even create some jobs out of it as well.
I just had a conversation with your deputy, and I understand what your vision is. By the way, I'm Val Meloff with the Department of General Services. Good morning.
Morning.
We will be happy to take the lead in pulling all these agencies together to start discussing what can be done consistent with the terms of your motion. I would also just like to add that we've initiated the cleanup.
Great.
So the pressure washing, dealing with the other problems there, GSD has found some money working with the CAO to handle that. We are also going to be handling the board up. So
Great.
that part of it is on its way. The issues with economic development will, fall into different expertises of different departments,
Sure.
but we're going to be happy to help with that.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, great. Do you want to recommend
Yes, recommend approval, please.
approval? Okay, great. All right, number 3.
I'm sorry, would you like to hold the motion in committee and wait for the report to come back? Or
Yes, let's do that for 30 days.
Okay, 30 days.
30 days? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, great. You here for 3 also?
Yes.
Okay, great. Let me make a couple of comments on 3, and then perhaps I can help you shape what you want to do, or what you want to say. We can make this more efficient. Now, it's my understanding that the fund has been used to implement a variety of water and power retrofit projects, and they are limited to applying for Department of Water and Power and California Energy Commission loans. The city also issued $12 million in qualified energy conservation bonds. Now, these proposed amendments would allow the green retrofit program to look for other funding sources, such as grants and private financing, which I think is a good thing. The report recommends using an existing fund, the Energy Conservation Loan Program, to achieve these goals. Now, I believe, if I'm correct, the report also recommends reinvesting a projected 20% in savings achieved by energy savings back into the fund. So the only thing that I'm not clear about, and has the CAO done any fiscal analysis on this proposal? Because I want to know what the baseline will be for the 20% savings, just a definition of whether or not this is kilowatt savings or actual monetary savings. And I need to know that just as the Department of Water and Power moves forward with its AB 32 compliance, our bills have the risk of becoming more expensive even if our kilowatt usage goes down. So, and I'm not clear about the strategy for repayment of the bonds used to implement this program, and whether or not any portion of those savings go to service that debt. So, and I wanted to know these answers and have them on the record, because I do know that if the program has more access to more funding, we would be able to put more people back to work. So,
Well, your basic question seems to be whether or not the CAO has had a chance to do a fiscal analysis of this proposal. And while they have been involved in discussions with regard to developing the special fund, I wouldn't want to speak for them. They're here, but I don't believe that they have actually done a fiscal analysis.
does somebody from the CAO's office want to come up?
Good morning, Jason with the CEO's office. Our office has been talking to GSC about the concept of creating a fund for this purpose, but as far as the specifics as to, as you said, how do you measure the savings? Or the mechanism for how do you appropriate money in the first place to try to figure out what the savings would be? And then if you actually have the savings, do you actually transfer it to this fund or it shouldn't be a general fund appropriation that the mayor and council should make. So there are a lot of outstanding issues that we need to deal with. The concept is quite interesting, but we need time to take a look at this.
Okay, so since this is on the calendar, why hasn't the CAO done the fiscal analysis report?
We haven't been asked to do one yet.
Who needs to ask you to tell me?
The proposal is from the department, and they were going to submit this to council for approval, and then you would ask us to do a fiscal impact or a policy.
Well, don't we normally have a fiscal impact report as we go through committee and then move forward to council?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, that's a normal practice.
Right.
All right, so how long would it take for you to do a fiscal analysis? Could you do it in, say, 30 days? This is an interesting piece of, it's an interesting opportunity, because we could put people back to work, but I do want to be, meticulous in documenting the record that we did do a fiscal analysis, so we understand what the baseline is, and, whatever the strategy is to service the bond repayment, I think we need to have that as part of the record, too, so people make an informed decision. I mean, conceptually, it's a good idea, and I think we should support it, but I think we need to, there's some gaping holes here in the analysis that I think we need to fill.
Yes, that was one of the reasons that we were in talking with General Services. I mean, just the basic concept is to try to figure out how do you provide funding into this fund. And, whichever way that we tried to figure out a way that made sense, we already ran into roadblocks. For example, the savings that's generated through energy, so 20%, right? That money to be generated means that in our electricity fund, we would have to overfund it by 20% to have that money available to be transferred. So it is a general fund appropriation. In fact, in the beginning, conceptually, if you say that, okay, we can generate 20% savings and that's $10 million, then we can actually appropriate that savings, expected savings, into the conservation fund and have them use that as a funding source.
I have an idea. As you're talking here at the table right now, you're actually providing the section of the report, which is
Right.
the options presented or whatever. Why don't we, we'll talk about this, give you a time frame. I'll make it very short so we can have a good turnaround time on this, and then have you come back with a report and present all the alternatives. And then ultimately, it's up to us to vote on what we think is the most rational and grounded in reality. But conceptually, I think it's a great idea. But so we'll talk. Let's have our presentations, and then we'll come back with a time frame. And I promise to make it short.
Okay.
You want to go first?
Good morning. Good morning, Madam Chair, and good morning, Councilmember Buscarino. My name is Teresa Sanchez. I'm with the Mayor's Office. I'm the Director of the Green Building Retrofit and Workforce Program. And I just wanted to give, I know you've been with us, Ms. Perry, from day one, but for Mr. Buscarino, just a quick overview of what the program is. Back in 2006, a group of community organizations, environmental activists, and advocates, and labor organizations in the city got together to look about what could we do as a coalition of workforce advocates, community advocates, and environmental advocates do working with the city to help forward the city's environmental goals in terms of energy efficiency, carbon reduction, as well as economic revitalization through workforce development. And we did a lot of research and searching and looking around and decided that upgrading the city's own infrastructure would be an ideal way to achieve all of those goals. So we came up with the idea of the Green Building Retrofit and Workforce Program to retrofit all of the city's municipal buildings over 7,500 square feet or built before 1978. We eventually were able to, working with the city council at the time, pass back in 2009 an ordinance that created the Green Building Retrofit Program. And that passed, by the way, unanimously by the city council at the time. The ordinance puts the program in the mayor's office. Department of General Services is the primary department that's responsible for implementing the program because they do construction and maintenance on city-owned buildings. There's a lot more to it, a lot of different pieces to it that we can go into, but the focus of this proposal at this point is to help ensure the long-term financial sustainability of the program. We were lucky that in 2008, 2009, as we had passed the ordinance and were starting to develop the implementation program, the Obama administration passed the RS stimulus program. And a lot of money was invested through the Department of Energy to help cities like LA and local jurisdictions do just this. Create energy efficiency, upgrade our infrastructure, create jobs. But we think our program is uniquely comprehensive in that we actually had a workforce development component that focused on saving jobs and creating jobs in the community. And we were able to save 40 jobs that would have been lost in the city in 2010. And we're hoping that as we can raise funds to expand the program, to do potentially hundreds of buildings, that we can do that through a project labor agreement that would then let us do community hire through being able to contract out through project labor agreements. So those are kind of the big workforce goals. We believe that creating the workforce fund by amending the existing energy efficiency fund would allow us to receive funds from every source, including additional grants and loans, potential private funding, and be able to kind of guarantee, kind of help create the financial sustainability for the program long term. So that's kind of the general overview. And I think that, so that's really the primary goal. Oh, I just did want to clarify in terms of the qualified energy conservation bonds, we actually set aside a portion of the grant, the energy efficiency the ECBG, we set aside a portion of the grant funds to guarantee the debt service on the bonds. So that's already covered. And that was a condition of the council to approve the first $12 million issuance. And we do have an outstanding, potentially $27 million of additional bond financing. And so we're still going to hopefully all work together to figure out, again, how do we follow that same model to make sure that the general fund is not impacted.
Okay, great. And then I'd like to have a short turnaround time on the CAO report, and I wouldn't go beyond 30 days. And I'll ask them again if they thought they could even do it in 2 weeks, because I think there's a lot of pieces out here that answer the questions. I think okay, we can talk. But, this is a good opportunity, and a great opportunity to generate more employment. So there's a lot, you basically have it written already in your head. You just need to put it on paper. So, we'll have a good turnaround time on this.
Okay.
Thank you.
I would just like to add that GSD has a long history of borrowing funds from DWP and repaying them. Over the last 10 years, I think we've implemented around 250 energy efficiency projects, which yield about 20 million in kilowatt savings annually, or about 1.7 to 2 million in savings. And in the water and water and electricity fund, we actually set aside $1 million to repay those loans. So this is an area that we're very comfortable working in, have a long history doing, and the fund was actually originally set up for this purpose, to accept and disperse monies for this purpose, and can easily be broadened to accomplish the objectives that the mayor's office was just discussing.
All right, so then, Mr. CAO, come on back. Yeah, just if you wouldn't mind coming back to the table. So just to reiterate some of my questions, which I'm sure you would have answered anyway, what the baseline for the 20% savings will be. Will it be kilowatt or monetary savings? And just give us some analysis as DWP moves forward with its AB 32 requirements. Obviously, what that will do to our bills, even if our kilowatt usage goes down, and the strategy for repayment of the bonds to implement this program, and what the split is, if there is any, that goes into servicing that debt. Those are just a few of the things that I'd like to see in that report. So, do you think you can get it done in 30 days?
I would really like to talk to your staff, and we will definitely have something for you quickly.
Okay, how about this? I would really like it We'll talk to the staff now. So if I have to do a special meeting, we can do a special meeting with the single item agenda. What's today, the January the 8th? Let's get it back, this is Tuesday, on a Tuesday morning, right before council, and put a placeholder in there, okay? 30 days from now?
The main thing is you have to see the report before you can have that placeholder in council.
I mean, we have to visually
The actual report.
actually see it or review it in committee.
It's up to the CLA to advise on that, but the ideal thing will be for the CAO to submit the report, let it go through the normal process, and then have it in committee, and then do the placeholder in council.
Madam Chair, we'll make sure that it will get to you within 30 days.
Okay.
Madam Chair, you should also know that this item has been referred to the Energy and Environment as well as Budget and Finance Committees.
Okay, so we'll have you back here in 30 days. Great, so we can get this done. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, next item.
Item 4, motion Buscarino Perry relative to various actions related to a non-financial transfer of jurisdiction of the city-owned property located at 1490 West Torrance Boulevard, Los Angeles, California, 90501, from the Department of General Services to the Department of Recreation and Parks.
Okay, that'll be yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for hearing this item in committee today. This is real exciting motion for the Harbor Gateway community, a community that's been thirsting for a pocket park for many, many years. And I know the community's worked tirelessly on trying to find a location, and with the help of LAPD patrol, we finally found a parcel that the city owns, and we're moving forward on this project. GSD is here, can come to the table. Anyone here? That's fine. That's fine. You know, we're going to move forward on this. Just want to thank a couple individuals from the city family, Mike Scholl from the Rec and Park for playing a critical role, and Gemma Lopez from GSD's Asset Management for allowing this parcel to be transferred over to Rec and Parks. So respectfully move to get this over to Rec and Parks so we can move forward on our plans and be responsive to the Harbor Gateway community for finally getting them their park. Thank you.
Great. All right, I concur. Is somebody from GSD coming back in here?
That's fine.
Mr. Buscarino said it's fine. Okay. No, we're okay.
We're good.
All right, so we move to approve this, and thank you. You can relax. All right, so next on our agenda is public comment.
Yes.
All right, this is the portion of the meeting for those who wish to comment on items not listed on the agenda to come forward and take comments from the public. Seeing that no one is coming forward, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Okay.